And I'm happy we could set this up so fast. Like I was really wanting to talk to you guys after Tower Cup, and the fact that we got it set up in a couple days is just amazing. And I'm just really looking forward to hearing more about it because it looked like such a banger of an event this year. And I know you guys put a lot of work into it from last year. And it just started last year, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it looked like such a prominent event this year. So I'm really excited to talk about it. But before we do, I'd love to hear your guys' origin story as Canal players. So I know you guys both been playing for 5 years plus, but
Yeah.
if you want to give everybody who's listening, who you are, where you're from, how do you get into Dama, the classic stories.
Yeah, for sure. So basically I started kendama back in December of 2018, and the way I found it originally was through the rock climbing community. I used to like climb competitively on the youth circuit.
Hmm.
So in the regional competitions, you'd have to be isolated in a room before you would see the climbs just to keep everything fair.
Hmm.
And in that room, I saw someone with a kendama, and I was like, oh, this is the perfect thing to do. And I would be in isolation for a long time because since my birthday is near like it's in December, so I'd be at like the end of my age group. So I'd have to wait like 3, 4 hours, just no phones, no anything. And I just thought kendama was the perfect thing. And I just kept going with kendama. I ended up getting injured through rock climbing. So like kendama stayed, kendama persisted, and I'm really glad it has. But besides like my kendama story, I'm a 20-year-old college junior. I just started my junior year, and I have played the cello. I'm doing cello performance. I've been playing cello for 16 years.
Hmm.
So it's like cello and kendama have a lot of like similar things about like just constant practice makes you better, all that stuff. So
Hmm.
it's really cool to see the parallels between the both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. And were you and so were you what was your first impression of Konami at first?
So I used to yo-yo actually, like back when I was 8, I would watch like yo-yo trick tutorials and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I wasn't like shy of skill toys. Like I knew what they were. I thought they were kind of my thing. And anyways, I like kind of being by myself and doing like random little hobbies. I did cup stacking a lot when I was little too. I just had a bunch of little like random fads. Like it would either be like a video game or just a random skill hobby. And then so I was like, oh, this is like a cool another thing to try. And then I'm not sure what like made the bug stick for me. I
Yeah.
just like kept doing it and I was just like, this is fun. I like learning new things. I like just constantly improving. And yeah, the rest is history. I think also just like being in high school and like going through the COVID
Mm.
pandemic with Kendama and like being like more of a teenager and more on social media, finding friends through social media, like that kind of helped like grow my love for the game and want to do more with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mm.
totally. So you're saying you think what part of what kept you in was the connections that you made?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
like, especially like going to my first event back in 2019, actually, I went to Sakura Classic Chicago,
Mm.
hosted by Grain Theory, Jake Queens. And like seeing people there, everyone's so welcoming, like so kind. I just wanted to continue to surround myself with individuals that shared that.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
To-
actually, I think, where I first met you. Not in 2022, I think, at Cigar Classic Chicago. I don't know if I know I met you before, but I think that's the first time we talked. Actually,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I've yet to go to Chicago. So
You
um
should come for Tower Cup or Sakura, the next one.
that's right, dude. Tower Cup's on
Power
Tower
Cup it
Cup for
is.
sure. Like Tower Cup for sure, dude. Yeah. Connor, what's your story, dude? I know we talked about it a little bit back in Florida a bit, but I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, I'm 21 years old now. I just turned 21 in Japan, which is super cool. But no, I grew up in like Crystal Lake, Illinois, but I was born in like Ajax, Ontario. So made a little like back and forth couple of trips throughout my life when I was younger, from Toronto down to the States and stuff like that. And then my family just eventually ended up in Illinois, and we kind of like spent 12 years there. I was in elementary through high school there. I graduated when I was like 17. And a little bit before I graduated, like right before COVID, I found out about kendama through my brother, and he was doing like EDM promotion at the time, and I would go to like some shows every once in a while just to like see artists and see what he was doing, kind of there to support him. And
Hmm.
I think around the time like he had just got back from Minnesota and stopped by like the Mall of America, picked up a couple like Sweets Primes and stuff like that, and got like a radar, like a full Purple Heart setup or whatever, and came back home with them. And I was just visiting, like seeing him over winter break, and we would hang out and play a little bit of kendama. And I just like picked it up and
Hmm.
was hanging out with him, and we just messed around with cups and stuff like that. But no, with his events, we'd show up and like I would see people there at like the bar or whatever, or like some of the bartenders would have kendamas, and like that was like my really first like exposure to kendama in person, just like seeing people playing. And I was really young at the time, so I didn't have like I don't know. I didn't have much sense, but I definitely shouldn't have been in that setting. But I was just
Hmm.
watching them play, and I was just so amazed, like seeing kendama in like raw form in front of me. Because before I would like watch YouTube videos, and I found out about it through like Instagram and stuff. And Bonzatron was like one of my first players that I actually like saw play kendama online. So I picked up one of his models a little bit after my brother kind of introduced it to me, and then I didn't really touch it for a while. And my brother actually ended up giving me his one of his Sweets radars, and I just like went full in on it, just started playing all the time, and like went home with it one night, was just going back and forth doing cups and stuff, and got really into it. And I like made a Instagram account, was just like kind of checking out Instagram at the time, looking into things. And yeah, my brother would like hit me up, and like we'd play every once in a while, and just like talk about stuff going on. And he was really like my number one supporter, just like,
Hmm.
oh, dude, keep going after this, like keep playing, you're getting so good. And I think like within the first couple of weeks, I learned like all the cups, spike, like stalls and stuff like that. And he was just like, dude, you're getting better than me. Like, you're getting so much better than me. And so, yeah, that was like my original like introduction to kendama. But with the scene that he was involved in, I like met up with these guys who I met at the like club or like bar that we went to, and they put me in a group chat with like I want to say like 5 or 6 different people, and they hosted a little jam like 45 minutes north of the border, like near Wisconsin and stuff. And I went up there whenever I wasn't playing hockey or doing anything, I would shoot up there, drive my car up there, just got my license and stuff, and meet up with some of these guys. And I was probably like the youngest there, so meeting up with all of them was kind of like a little shocking to me. But I would just play kendama. We would like grill out and just like talk and stuff like that. It was good times. And then it didn't really last too long, but
Hmm.
we uh we eventually kind of like split, and no more jams were really happening. And I asked a couple of the guys through that group, I was like, hey, is there anything else in the area, like anything Chicago local or anything like that? Because, still living in Illinois.
Hmm.
And one of the guys actually put me in the Windy City Kendama group chat. And so that's how I got like acquainted with all the Windy City Kendama guys. And
Nice.
um, I was working at a bar, like a bar slash deli restaurant when I was like 15 or 16, just around that same time. And one of the bartenders who had worked with me, her name's Iris. I'm gonna shout her out. But her brother Nate was really like super into kendama and involved in the Windy City kendama like scene stuff. And we met up one day. He like showed up at my restaurant, and we just started playing and like connected like that. And he was like, dude, you should come down to like a Windy City Kendama jam sometime. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So we shot down there one day, and that's when I just like met up with everybody, just started hanging out and talking and just playing kendama. And
Yeah.
I think that's where like my original skyrocket came from, was just like meeting everybody and seeing how much people were involved. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just really big for me. So it was cool.
That's that's awesome. Did your one quick question is what did your brother continue to play with you, or did he kind of just introduce you to play really casually?
So he played for like I want to say a little less than a year, but yeah, he
Okay.
like kind of
Hmm.
cut it off with his life and everything going on. And he was just like, dude, you're getting so insane, like would like all my stuff, like still does to this day. But yeah, he would like keep up with me all the time and just be like, dude, like I can't believe you've grown this far in it. Like it looks so good. Like you're getting so good. So that was awesome for me. Just always having support from my family, and like my parents were always super supportive of like me going to events and just like playing and going outside every single day and just like filming myself doing stuff like that. And so yeah, that really created a good level of like I have support behind myself and I know I can do this and keep going with it, and just ended up being really awesome for me.
That's super awesome. Yeah, I can totally. I'm just trying to imagine how insane that must be for like your brother and your parents right now too. They're like seeing you get into this, into kendama. It's a very like niche, unique thing. 5 years later, you're still in it. You're running your own events, and you literally went to Japan for 2 weeks. So that's just so crazy. Like I'm sure Joe's parents have the same thing. It's like it's so great. Like I think about when I started, and my mom. I mean, Nick doing his first big cup, swinging around. My mom asking Nick if he needs like a helmet because he was just swinging it like this. To what's happened now, and the discovery of the Kanama world. It's so deep. It's amazing. I'm trying to imagine what your brother must think. He must be super proud. Your parents must be proud of you guys both. I So you did mention that you were added to this Windy City Kanama group chat. How did you two meet exactly? When was the first time you guys met, and how did that go?
So the first jam at like so Clay Fuller at the like is like the one that spearheaded a lot of these Windy City Kendama jams.
Mm,
So Clay was I kept hitting up Clay. I'm like, Clay, COVID is basically done. We need to start jams again.
yeah.
And then the first Windy City Kendama Tower jam after COVID, Connor and I were both at that jam.
Mm,
And we both like we just connected instantly. We have this doubles clip. We hit a doubles clip together the first time that we were both at this jam. Like good times, but
yeah.
we just really connected instantly, and literally we basically call like once a week a minimum, probably more, just like to sesh, talk life. And it's
Mm,
like beyond kendama now. Like, of
Yeah.
course, like kendama is like our both our things, but like our friendship is like beyond kendama now, which is just like really awesome how like this toy has brought like one of my best friends just like, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, we definitely kicked it off right away, and like I was just super thankful. Like I met all the guys in Windy City Kendama, and I mean from there it was just like not knowing like at first like how deep and invested these people were and like their lifestyles and stuff, and now they're like some of my closest friends, and like
Yeah.
we just hang out, we talk every single day. Like Joe and I connected like that, and it was just like I always have a friend to talk to, like always have somebody there for me, someone to sesh with, like to hang out on calls and like talk kendama and just live it and kind of go through it together. And yeah, we've always kind of been there for each other for that reason. So it's been awesome. Like some of my closest friends to this day through Windy City Kendama. So
That's epic. And now you guys have grown. Yeah, 5 years later, hosting your own event, Tower Cup. And just before we get into this year, what made you guys want to exactly start Tower Cup last year, the first time you did it? What kickstarted it for you?
So originally, like I wanted to host like this was kind of around the time that a lot of new competitions started popping up. Like LVKO made a resurgence, CKC happened for the first time that year.
Mm,
There's a bunch of other new competitions that started popping up or old competitions that restarted again. And I was just like, oh, we should have one. You know what I
yeah, we had
mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
why don't we have one? And like I remember it's just kind of like crazy at first. You're just like, oh, you want to do this? Like, isn't that a lot of work? But then Connor was just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
make
we
this happen.
so on board together with it. At first it was like let's start something, And I think Windy City Kendama at the time was we just had like at least 10 to like 15 people sometimes showing Midwest showing up, and we were just like we need something to happen. So yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Nice. Yeah, and then So going from just jams to your first event and then to this year, second year coming around, Tower Cup. I mean, how is it looking based on, attendees, how many competitors, sponsors, player? I mean, you guys had a lot of things going on this year. It looked pretty successful.
I think it's at 89
Yeah,
competitors, 110 total people
which
plus.
is insane. Like we genuinely didn't expect that many people to show up because we started our first year around 50, right, Connor?
Yeah, around like 50 to 60 people showed up our first year, and it wasn't like it was actually more of a turnout than we expected in general, but
Yeah,
yeah, no, around 50 to 60.
yeah.
And then this year we had like 33 competitors in pro. It
Wow.
was just an insane, like genuinely insane turnout.
Yeah. It doubled. It
Yeah.
more than doubled practically. And you guys had a lot of player announcements, a lot of sponsors come in. How did you guys, so what was the preparation going into this look like? What did you guys do to get all these people out here? Anything special, anything new, anything that other people should know when going forward hosting their own events?
I'll
Yeah.
say,
Oh wait, you go first,
sorry,
Connor.
for sure. Sorry about that. Yeah, Joe and I fortunately like had a really good outline from the previous year moving forward. So
Hmm.
at first we kind of just like got together on calls all the time. I mean, it was like it felt like every day for the both of us. But yeah, we were getting on calls and like creating an event schedule, working like with like graphic designers like in our area that we met and
Nice.
just kind of planned this whole like, all right, like what are we gonna do for this day? Like let's plan it for this weekend. Let's get all these like miscellaneous things kind of involved and create like a spreadsheet of different things that we need. And yeah, just reach out to like sponsors and send numerous emails. I think Joe and I went back and forth on like on a full call for a day, just like sending emails to different sponsors, companies, and people, just reaching out to get the support for our event. Um,
Yeah.
and then like from there, yeah, we just came up with like lists of things that we needed. I created an IG account this year actually for the first time
Hmm.
for Tower Cup, which was super cool. We
Hmm.
had planned with like a lot of the Chicago locals around us, and people are in our group chat like, oh, like what do you want to do for the event? Like, is there a task that you want to do? Or is like, do you want to make trick cards? Do you want to help for registration? Do you want to do this? And so we kind of just like helped and talked around each other and
Hmm.
worked things out and wanted to make it like run as smooth as possible with everybody on board. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of just like Joe and I hopping on calls and just figuring it all out. And Joe, you can probably add
Yeah.
to that.
I think a lot of what helped this year is we kind of created a lot more systems to make things more efficient. So like our registration form automatically filtered into a spreadsheet, which then you could take that data and implement it into different things like challenge or all that stuff. We created like a designated Tower Cup like account to send money towards so that we weren't using like last year we used my personal Venmo and PayPal, which got kind of dicey because then it's just like, oh my gosh, like I need to keep track of this against all my own money,
Yeah.
which was just like kind of stressful. And then like with the Tower Cup Instagram, a lot nicer like to have like a direct face for like what people were to look for. And we got the clean handle. We just got Tower Cup. So it's
Oh,
very searchable. And
Yeah.
like one of our local people at the jam, shout out Ray. Ray made these nice little like postcards that just had like Tower Cup, the date, the location, like what kendama is. And then when we were at our Saturday jams, like the month up, yeah, Connor has a perfect example right there. That'll be in the video.
Post it.
But we would just hand those out to people that were interested just at our jams. So then we got some good like regular community people since we were in a public space, just showing up asking what kendama was. It like drove more attention towards the event. And then we had vendors, it drove those people to our vendors. It was very, very nice. And then um otherwise, another thing that was like, or this we could talk about that later, but with sponsors and stuff, like it was amazing, like the amount of support we got. We got to work with like a lot of specialized, like one of one unique prizes. We worked with Colin from Ghost Town to make 5 one of one custom pieces that were just littered throughout the prize bags, and we raffled off a couple of those. And then we also worked with Kelly Love Art with Snarkle Rocks to
Mm.
make custom bean tamas for the first place of each division, and then it had like pro open winner on the pro one and freestyle winner on the freestyle one.
Yeah.
So that was a huge like success. 30 sponsors plus, like just around 30. It was insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was nuts.
Wow. And then yeah, it sounds incredible. And compared to, I guess, if you guys give us the one or two things that you guys improved on most from last year, I think that'd be a really big help. Or explain the biggest challenges running up to the event.
Well, first of all,
Sorry.
I want to ask you, 30 sponsors. You know, whose house is taking all these prizes? I mean, where are you guys
It
storing?
was
That's like a lot. That's a lot of kendamas and other stuff.
it all got sent to my house, and there was like literally an entire, like, I had this like little rug for like whatever reason, like the entire rug just had prizes like all the way up to the ceiling. It was insane. It got kind of overwhelming. Like when we were at, like, we had a little like organizer get together like the day before the pre-jam just to sort out prize bags, and we were like, oh my gosh, what do we do with all of this? There was one First T Dama new clothing company sent 30 shirts.
30.
They made
Wow.
30 t-shirts like for us. And then another sponsor sent 20 t-shirts. Another sponsor sent like 10 t-shirts. We were just like giving away things like crazy. Like all the prize bags were stacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy. But for improvements though, specifically, we had a bunch of different things that we improved on, just like quality of life things of like more activities surrounding the event, and then as well as like more things that happened the day of the event. So we implemented video premieres for the first time, and it was amazing how much love we received and how many people that were wanting to show videos. We had
Who premiered?
John got it. So John announced for Acid Labs flow team. I showed a little personal video, and then Joe Nelson premiered his third POV project, which was mind blowing. I
Sounds
Joe, you need to release that to YouTube right now because I have been fiending for a rewatch. It was seriously so amazing. Connor mentioned this earlier about creating the Tower Cup Instagram. Oh wait, sorry. More videos. Grayson Luker showed Luker language, which was like his string auto spike edit. And
Oh,
then
nice.
Danny Markowitz, owner of Lock Studios, showed his 11-year edit, which
I
was
just watched that.
It's mind
So
blowing.
crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
Danny's he's the owner of Locked, and he's just insanely good at kendama. Yeah, you can't. It's hard to be an owner. It's just rare to be an owner and be insanely good. It's just what it is. So, a lot of respect to him. Yeah.
like the 5 Cinderella flip, or like the 5
Yeah.
Cinderella that he like just posted was also in his edit. Like,
Yeah.
like crazy.
I don't understand.
Some more improvements though. Those were all the videos we showed.
Yep.
Connor mentioned about the Tower Cup Instagram.
Yeah, we also
that-
included, sorry, Joe.
You're good.
We included like our raffles this year. We like held like a little cheaper registration, so that I think that really like skyrocketed us and kind of like just worked around different things going on with the event. A lot of day of planning and like adapting and overcoming, so that was really good. I think that helped us move into like just working off different things, and yeah, it all was like really successful. So
Yeah.
I think like another like couple like good things that we had like improvement wise is there were more players from like many different areas across the US. Like people drove like 12 hours for the event. People flew like across the country, like flying from California, Colorado. There were people from like New England area. Like it was basically like just amazing like how many different states and squads we had like represented at this event. We also implemented vending, which was really awesome.
Yep.
We had a bunch of vendors. It was like 5 or 6, and which was just like amazing for like our first year doing vending. Just the amount of vendors we had like total
how
And
did
then another thing that I think is like, oh, sorry.
I was gonna ask how did that feel to have so many, you said last year, first year event, and then second year you have people driving 12 hours, you have people flying across the country to go. How do you guys both feel about that? I mean, that is really amazing.
It's kind of like just a huge shock to me, especially getting back, from being gone for 2 weeks and like
Hmm.
just seeing that like Joe and I were doing a lot of communicating while I was in Japan, and so I was like calling on different hours, working stuff out for the day of the event, and like making sure our cash prize was all set to go, like making sure we had things in place for day of event, and like getting back and having like each day kind of planned out leading up to it. And then yeah, just like seeing everybody show up, seeing how many stories we're getting tagged in, and like
Yeah.
just like the posts and stuff like that was just like, wow, I can't believe everyone is coming from all over just to hit the Midwest and see Tower Cup. Like this is so crazy to me.
Mhm.
Um, I was still like very shocked from just coming down from KWC, and so I was just like
Yeah.
out of it, kind of like, whoa, like what's going on right now? Like there's so many people here, and just like it was awesome. And then I know Joe has so much more to add for that. So
It's just so surreal. Like the fact that we started from 50 people and literally just our jams to now like 110 plus attendees. Like the park and like the area we were in was just full of kendama players, which is just like insane to see. Like just the work that like you're you directly have a hand in, and like for all these
Mhm.
people coming to like your thing and to have fun and like all that stuff, it's seriously like the most fulfilling thing
Yeah.
that I've done, like kendama wise. Like I'm sure Connor can agree that it's just like wow, like everyone's here for us, everyone's here for this competition.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like just
Hmm.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, Joe. I mean, that's got to feel absolutely incredible for both of you guys. Yeah, Connor, you finish up a 2 week trip in Japan, you come back, and you're now at your own event that has over 100 people at it. That that you guys have been organizing for months. And Joe, I want to go off of what you said, and you know at the start of this interview, you did mention how impactful those connections you made at the start of your journey was, and same with Connor, you too. After you guys both been playing for 5 years, lacing hard tricks. How what does it feel like to how important would you guys say after being involved in the community, hosting jams, now hosting your event 2 years in a row? How important would you guys say it is to involve yourself in the community, and how much more fulfilling would you say that is than just to take that next step to do stuff like what you guys are doing?
In my opinion, it's probably the most important thing. This community, Kendama, is like small enough and still growing as it is. And we all have our duty as Kendama players to spread the love, show other people what Kendama is.
Mhm.
And it's scary, like trying to do something you can't necessarily predict, but just involving yourself and seeing like our community, even though like it's like smaller, it's still full of so much love, and everybody just wants success for everyone else, and everybody wants to go to things like there's so many people that want to go to events, people that just want to travel, like go, like I want to compete, but no one really wants to host the competitions. And like I would encourage anyone that's listening to this, like even if you're on the fence about hosting a competition, just host a competition. It's seriously like again the most rewarding thing I've done in Kendama. Like
Mhm.
and like even as a sponsored player, like being sponsored by a team, like this is like the most important thing. Like just seeing the reactions, like there were people that this was their first event, and like this set the tone for
Mhm.
what Kendama will mean to them. Like I don't think I would have been continuing Kendama if Sakura Classic wasn't as fun as it was. And like you get to set that tone for new players. Like seeing like DMs of just like, this is my first event, I'm competing in beginner. And it's just like so cool to see like the spark go off in someone's eyes. You know what I mean? Because it's like such a
Mhm.
foreign thing. Like, oh, I'm just gonna play with like this toy in my room. like for whenever I'm bored. But then to see that happen live in front of you and it be because of something you did is just like
Yeah.
the best feeling.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure Connor can add more to that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just seeing it all come together, like, I don't know. And being involved in this community for so long, or at
Mhm.
least 5 years now, coming up on 5 years, it's like
Yeah.
I may not be posting like, yeah, some of the hardest tricks, or I may not be like super as involved as I want to be, but whatever I'm doing to like make kendama more a part of my day, like I'll do it. And
Mhm.
kind of taking a role in like, yeah, any leadership position, or just being like, hey, like I can do this. It's so rewarding at the end of the day to like watch something be created in front of your eyes. I mean, everyone does it with kendama every single day. You imagine something and you pick it up and you do it, and you take everything in your power to do it. So like you can do that with everything else. And I think kendama teaches so many life lessons in that matter. And
Mhm.
it's so rewarding in the sense of like this community will always give back to you no matter what. Like
Mhm.
whether it be through kendama, whether it be through friends, whether it be through connection, networking, anything you do, like it'll always give back to you and help you out in so many different ways. So I can't really stress it enough. Like, yeah, like get out there, put yourself out there, like do something, like make a change throughout your day to day and just keep going and like push through whatever you can just to like show that you're putting in the work and you're putting in the effort to do it. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's definitely awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible, guys. You guys really touched on, and I like that you guys touched on providing the experience for new players wanting to travel, the beginners, all these new people getting this experience for the first time. I mean, I remember 12 years ago going to my first event, Battle in Seattle, 2012. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world to see Kanama players gathered at a park. That was it. That was generally what it was. And I mean, people were on tour, all the Konami State pros. It made it so special. But more than anything, I mean, it goes from playing inside a room by yourself to playing with a community very quickly, and it makes it feel very, very real. And I know for a fact ever since then I love to travel for events too. It felt really special to just go on a road trip 2 hours away to attend a Wenatchee Konami team movie premiere, or just go a couple hours away to attend a different jam or a different event. It just felt so magical, and generally a feeling that I can't explain. And obviously, going for 12 years, it feels different now. But especially those first times, if you make that good first impression on someone with your event, I mean, you're essentially starting the spark for the rest of their Kanama future. Just wow, I'm in it. I'm in it. Going to these events as a competitor, being an active participant in the community. Just like Joe said, you're just starting that for them. And just like for him, if Sakura being so fun now, he's continuing the way he is. I mean, you guys just did that for so many people this time, and it's yeah, it just comes full circle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that magical energy that you just said. I mean, you guys, that magical energy. I remember. That was exactly what I wanted to say about my feelings for my first Konami event, and you guys just did that for so many new players. That energy that you guys felt, and I hope everybody listening to this really thinks about that, especially those who have gone to a Konami event before, because I know everybody knows what we're talking about. And if you're listening to this and you haven't been to an event, I hope this makes you want to go to an event because we're not lying. I mean, it just feels insane to meet up and feel this community. And what Joe said is so true. And I almost forget this sometimes, that not every community out there is as loving or as like tight knit, as a Konami community. I'll look at other communities sometimes and there's just different types of like hierarchies. There's way more hate. There's way more hate in other communities. There's like negative energy. It's pretty much 99% positive in Kendama. And I almost forget that it's such a blessing. It's that this is like the norm. That this isn't the norm other places, but this is the norm for us. So it's truly amazing. And yeah, it's awesome. That energy definitely was felt at Tower Cup. And overall day of Tower Cup. Connor, you mentioned that, I mean, you go prepare, 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 but it's so rare that everything goes exactly according to plan. But how was the overall experience day of the competition?
I mean, it was honestly surreal. There were so many people there. We had changed up our spot originally from like in front of the tower where we had it held the first year, to kind of like behind, like across this little bridge area, which had a little bit more open room right next to this like volleyball court. Um, and we just saw like people pour in from all over. It was also kind of like a heavy traction area, so there was a lot of people like walking through and stuff, and many people like stopped by just to like look at our event, watch it, and like we had parents just setting up chairs from like felt like 500 feet away, just like hanging out watching the event, and yeah, we just had so many new faces just like coming up, like asking what it was, seeing how it was, like it was very magical in all different ways, like
Mhm.
planning from getting there like really early in the morning to just like setting up the event, like figuring out, all right, like vending's gonna go over here, like we'll put a tent here, we'll have our registration booth here, like we'll set up prizes here and stuff like that. It was really cool to like see our event just like pop into place. Everyone was already there already, like everyone's kind of getting set up ready for the day, and like
Yeah.
just seeing how much people really care to like show up, make the first impression, like get there, like show that their team's there or whatever, show that like they brought their family or they brought their friends, or like, they're just pulling up to the registration booth, like saying, "Hey, what's up? Like, I'm here to compete in this division." Like, it was so
Mm.
cool just to have like, wow, like that connection is there. Like, we're
Yeah.
here for this. Like, this is Tower Cup. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys feel any
I
pressure?
agree with that so much. Wait, sorry.
No, go
You
ahead,
go.
Joe,
My
please.
bad. Go ahead.
I agree with that so much of just like seeing everything happen the day of, like all this work and like theoretical thought of, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen with this, because Connor and I and the planning team of Tower Cup just, we were like thinking about this as early as like in the winter, like February, March, like going into spring. There was one homie that literally I told him, oh, you should come. And he skipped his job 8 hours the night before just to come, which is insane. But just like so much love, so much fun the day of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, did you guys feel any what so you did mention thinking about, okay, is this gonna right? Is this gonna go right? Is this gonna go right? Did you guys both feel a lot of pressure?
I would say yeah, for a little bit. Like there was some pressure. Like we had our pre-gym, we were like, all right, well, we're moving location. We're gonna just have to like adapt and overcome to some of the little things that are going on right now. And we were hoping like, oh, I hope this isn't deterring anybody or doing anything like that. Like just kind of like working around any little problem that we had and making sure that it was taken care of within like the first hour or two of it arising. So yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely had some second thoughts about little things, but I mean, we just went through with a lot and it ended up kind of working out for us, which was really awesome.
Good.
I think our motto genuinely just of Tower Cup period is just adapt and overcome. Our first year, we had to deal with rain and bad weather the day of our event, even though the pre and post jam had perfect weather. And we had to deal with like other groups of people like coming up and just like like, oh, like you shouldn't be here, random stuff like that. And just like then after showing people, like they were much more accepting of like us being into space or running out of power or like sunlight doing this, wind affecting this. But like I just have to hand it to all the people on our organizing team for being like so rational and thinking things through of just like, okay, this is what's happening. Let's work through this.
To have a really successful event, it's just always gonna the preparations are always not gonna go 100% as planned. So to hear that you guys are always adapting and everything, I think is good to hear from people like you guys, because even though you're 2 years into running this event, you guys are still overcoming new challenges. And I heard about a particular challenge. If you heard about the freestyle getting like just shut down, you guys had to move locations.
Yes, we
That
actually,
unfortunately, sorry, you go.
no, go ahead, Joe. It's all good.
Yeah, so it's just like there were some issues with freestyle, like with the park closing and all this stuff, and especially with light and stuff, because
Mm.
open ran super late, again, with how many people we had,
Yeah.
it just ran way later than expected. So then we just went to our after party spot and moved freestyle there. And that honestly made it like much more of like honestly, I think it went better than it would have went in the park
Mhm.
because we were all kind of packed in
Yeah.
Twan's dad's backyard. and it was just the vibes were through the roof. It was seriously it was so sick to see what went down in that freestyle. Like some of the best matches I've seen in freestyle kendama in general.
Mhm. Yeah.
It looked amazing. Like that I saw the spot on a post that said, "Oh, we had to move locations," and I was like, I was convinced that was the main location. It looks like such a great vibe, like you said, and you know that's that's so awesome that you said it probably went better than it would have even at the original spot. That's the best, and I brought that up because it seemed like you guys adapted so well to that. I mean, when I heard what happened, I was I was really impressed with you guys because I knew the aftermath. The competition still ran. It looked like so sick in that backyard, and yeah, I just want to give props to you guys because if that's how you guys ended the event, I mean, that's just I couldn't imagine the night after, and then the session after must have been so epic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, our retention of just people coming to the after party, because that was the plan anyways, of after the event, I'll go to Twan's parents' house and just kick it there. But it kind of ended up, like you said, working more in our favor of everyone just pulled up and like everyone came. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't really one person that just decided to leave early unless they had like work or something. And like Miguel had to catch a flight at
Yeah.
nighttime, which which is just like unfortunate.
Yeah, and you guys talked about having people come from all over the country and also having over 30 players in the pro division. What were some of these? How was the competition? I mean, you just talked about freestyle having it be insane, but who exactly placed in? Honestly, who impressed you the most?
Miguel actually lost to Casey in winners bracket, and
Mm-hmm.
Miguel had to fight his way through losers and played nail biting sets with Joe. It was literally 4-5, 4-5,
Yeah.
both matches, because Miguel had to reset the bracket. Like they
Yeah.
were matching tricks left and right. I was screaming in the mic because I was emceeing. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. It
Uh,
was like, I'm sure Connor can attest as well. It was just entertaining,
yeah.
just insane. And
Like,
then
sorry. Yeah, definitely some of the crazier matches between like both friends of our friend groups and stuff like that. It's like
Yeah.
it was crazy to see Joe go up against Miguel and Casey like back to back just like that. And I was just like, wow. Like
Yeah.
just matching, and then yeah, just games and back and forth. It's like that was really cool. And went by pretty quick for us. So like moving into pro was decent. We had let me see here. For like our AM winners, we had Quentin Mackey, who is the owner of Acid Labs Kendamas. He took first, and then we had Junior, which is like a Chicago local. He ended up taking second, and then I believe one of the Indiana Lacers guys, Chris Song. I'm sorry. Yeah, I believe he took third or second. I'm sorry, I'm not too
or
exact
he
on
got
those.
third.
Yeah, third. Yeah,
Mhm.
but
And then for freestyle, we had Austin Griswold, unsponsored player, got 608 local, got third.
Yeah.
Joe Nelson got second for the 2P, the double podium. And then Gino of Seoul got first, which I'm just over the moon because last year he got double second. He got second in open and second in freestyle, losing to his homies. He lost to Elliot in open and he lost to Dylan Marr in freestyle.
Yeah.
So to see him come back and for that redemption arc
Yeah.
was really awesome. And then you mentioned earlier players that surprised us. For me, my biggest surprise was Colton.
Hmm.
Mm.
Colton destroyed freestyle. Colton got fourth.
Wow.
Wow.
killed
And
it.
Colton like had hard matches. He beat Jay of Kendama USA.
Oh, no way.
I want to see the video of the match. He did like no hole stilt flip and like in, and then he did like a bunch of stall tricks, and then he literally didn't miss for 45 seconds. He did a border spin in that match too. And like Jay was hitting hard stuff too. Like Jay was hitting like 3-2-1 tap, like 4 tap, like a bunch of late slingers. Like just it was an insane, like I couldn't have been the judges on that. That would have been like so hard to judge.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was for sure a neck and neck match. That was a cool one. Yeah, just like seeing some of the guys go up against each other is just like wow, like can't believe this is happening right in front of me in my best friend's backyard. Like,
Yeah.
like just all super surreal. Like all these great players just coming together to face each other right in our like main hometown area. Like it was cool for us, definitely.
Yeah.
Connor, who was your biggest surprise?
Um, I would say I would say Gino. Gino really pulled up and like he just had a different energy to him, man. Like I know he wanted that win so bad and he was gonna do anything to get it. So yeah, seeing some of his matches, like he really locked in like come freestyle. Dude was just like only kendama and straight kendama tricks only. So yeah, to see him come out with a dub was really cool. Um and just yeah, like watching him, like seeing how happy he was after was really like great for me. And then yeah, just coming back from Japan, we like connected like that, and then I watch him win. I'm like, let's go, Gino.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alcohol Japan energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes right back to Chicago, Naperville, and just wrecks the comp. That's so
Yeah.
I think that's Gino's hometown too.
It
So
is Gino's hometown.
he
no
really
way.
wanted that.
What?
So yeah, no, it was really cool to see. He just like slayed for freestyle. It was awesome.
Yeah. Congrats to Gino. Freestyle podium, just to reiterate, Gino, Joe Nelson, Austin Griswold, and then open. Yeah, congrats to Miguel as well. Open. First Miguel, second Joe Nelson, third Casey Henson.
That's Miguel's what, 10th podium, he said?
10th podium in a row.
In a row.
So he's just hitting all these US events then. Just like
Yeah,
every
it's
Yeah.
it's
Pretty cool.
insane.
yeah. That's sick. That's insane. That's gonna be yeah. Is he going to ATLO?
Yeah, he is.
Sick.
He sent the trick list and he's like, all right, I'm gonna start practicing now.
Yeah, those tricks are hard. I just checked them out yesterday. Easily, the top 8 tricks are easily the hardest tricks I've seen for a pro in a while. But
Yeah.
yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I think one other thing that I saw at Tower Cup this year that I'd love to hear you guys talk about is Kendama Passport. That is something that is so new.
So Kendama Passport, it was an idea by Kelly and us that we wanted to try and see what people would think. It was similar to um like King of the Road, or like if you ever went to Camp Kendama or know what Camp Kendama is, like the King of the Camp type thing. So we made some challenges, we made some Instagrams, and then there was like a lot of chaotic stuff that happened around the event. So then it was just like teams of players like were like not as clear about the rules, but it's good looking forward because we know a lot of things to improve on. We got a lot of feedback from different members that like were participating and like stuff like that, people that signed up. And like we'll for sure be implementing it at more events in the future. But for now, like it was kind of a bit rushed because the idea came like 2 weeks before the event really started. So we're gonna do, I think like Kelly and I are calling tomorrow about it to talk about how to improve Passport. But there was like a bunch of different opinions on, some people wanted more trick related things. Some people were like confused about a couple things, but it's all good info to have looking for the future. So
Yeah. Hosting Passport was kind of like our trial run for Tower Cup. Like we wanted to see if it would work at our event and if it could possibly work at future events. And so it was kind of great to hear all the feedback from everybody and see what they had to say about some of the like ideas around it and what they want to hear for like next year or next event. And yeah, no, it's all good things moving forward.
And and just so people who are listening are clear, 2 things. What's the intent of Kendama Passport, and what are some of the challenges you guys are talking about that you guys that are included in this?
So the
Yeah.
main goal of Passport, we wanted to introduce something to the kendama community to do that you can do outside of the competition, because sometimes you're just, oh, it's beginner or it's intermediate, and I'm going to be sitting around for 3, 4 hours. Like, what can I do? Kendama Passport could be the perfect thing. You can like meet new people, take pictures, try new tricks around local areas, stuff like that. Just and like the main goal is connection between members of the event and making sure that you're like interacting with local things around where you are. We made a lot of trick specific challenges like in like relative to the Naperville area or around a specific event venue. So there was a lot around that. And then it was just like take pictures with someone new you met, someone from a new state. And that just increases the connection as well. So Connor could add more, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's definitely just for like creating some extra goals for people and kind of have it to like not focus around the main event, but yeah, just focus for their personal like improvement and kind of like giving them a little thing to do while the event's going on. And it's point based as well. So we wanted to have like a prize kind of given and for people to like have an incentive to work for if you were competing or doing Kanama Passport this year. So kind of giving people like a reason to just go out of their way and try something new and get indulged in something else other than the event itself. And yeah, no, all things considered, it worked out for the better, and we just kind of wanted to like trial it and test it out and see how it was.
Well, I love that idea. I love the idea behind it. I'm certain it'll be a massive hit at future events because really what you said, like you said, the point system, it's like you're gamifying connection, which is the best part about every single event, and it really just encourages people to do, to connect with others that they may have not talked to if they weren't in doing one of those challenges, right? And the point system is there. It's not really like, yeah, there's a winner. It's not really about the winner. It's more about getting introduced to these new, relationships that you probably wouldn't have had prior if you didn't weren't tackling a similar challenge together. I really love that idea, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys implement it at future events because I mean it sounds really fun. I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
I love it too that you guys said it adds another objective. Like you guys said, it adds another objective to the event other than just, okay, I need to practice open division or I need to practice speed ladder. It's something for everybody to do, and a lot of people aren't even competing like that hard anyways, especially at even, a lot of people, there are some competitors and some people who are very much more chill, and this gives an option for everybody, no matter what type of player or what type of intensity you're trying to bring to that competition, that event during that day. So I really love that. I really love that, guys. It's such a good idea. And for 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 event runners, you guys did encourage everybody to host an event. What is one thing about hosting an event in your guys' experience that is really prominent, but hardly anybody knows, you know, about it? Hardly anybody's in the know. It could be behind the scene things, something that happens day of.
I think the biggest thing for me personally is that running an event truly becomes all consuming of like who you are and what you do. Like leading up to Tower Cup, I like again, I was on the phone with Connor basically every day, just talking about random event things. And it's because you care so much and you want the event to succeed. Like our entire team of people wanted the event to succeed so bad. It's like, oh, what can we do about this? What can we do about this? And just working with those unknown variables, it's just adds like a lot of anxiety, but it's not like a bad anxiety. It's just like I really want to do well. I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
It's like Connor and I, it's like Tower Cup is like our like little child, you know what I mean? That like I don't know if there's like another way to like phrase that. Like I'm sure Connor will like elaborate more on this, but it's just
Yeah, I
like we
mean,
would constantly think about it.
yeah, it definitely was on my mind like many of the days. I mean, even months before Japan and planning that and doing other stuff like that. We, like I said, we had a great outline from last year, and it was kind of like what right after our event last year, it was like, what can we do for next year? Like we got it, our friends together. We were like, how can we make this better next year? Like, what can we do? Can we make posters? Can we get our branding a little bit better? Can we market a little bit better? Use social media to our advantage? Like how many things can we put towards this, and how many minds can we put towards this right now in order to make it succeed? And I think, yeah, just having that drive and having that that passion to want it to grow and like want everything to get better year by year is like such a determining factor whether or not like you make it happen. And I think, yeah, just like having a good group of people around you and being able to put a lot of back work in only leads up to success the day of the event. So speaking off of that, it's just like what can you do in in your free time in order to make this event run perfect the day of? So yeah, it's just a lot of things back and forth between people, a lot of ideas to work around, a lot of like creativity involved, and like getting people together and on the same page on the same time, and like just kind of working as a whole. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you guys keep, yeah, so you emphasize the importance of working with a group. How exactly big was your team this year? I know you guys were the head, but you guys definitely had some help.
Our team primarily was 6 people, so it was myself and Connor, and then Clay Fuller. Clay Fuller handled a lot of the day of judging things. Each
Mm,
person had like a different task, like whether it was like something that you could see like physically the day of the event or something like very back end. So Clay was the head judge. Clay organized all the judging things. John of Acid Labs, he coordinated a lot of like music and other like miscellaneous event things. He was also taking photos on his little digital camera all day.
nice.
And he was also a freestyle judge for our freestyle division. And then Twan, the Twan and only of Acid Labs, he was a freestyle judge, and he was also just doing a lot of back end stuff, talking to sponsors. Like Connor was like the one hitting up the sponsors. It was
Mhm.
insane. But Twan also hit up more sponsors. And then the last person on our planning team, Rylan Trapani, he's another Windy City local.
Mm.
He really was spearheading a lot of the video premiere stuff. He made sure all the tech worked, he hooked up all the sound, made sure the TV was there. But our planning team was 6 people strong. So
Nice. And are all you guys familiar with each other through Windy City Kendama jams, or is that the main basis of it? Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah,
a
so
lot
we sorry,
a lot of
you go.
no, you're okay. Uh, a lot of us, yeah, like are connected through Windy City Kendama, and like those are all that's our pretty much our group of friends that just like we're like, yeah, we want to make this happen. And
Yeah.
we kind of stayed like that from the first year up until now, and I think it's like great moving forward to just have like a fair amount of people on board, not keeping it super big, but just having like I said, like a team of 5, 6, maybe even a little bit more to just help coordinate and plan some things. We
Yeah.
definitely reached out to a lot of people outside of our group, for miscellaneous like things like tables. I mean, like just making sure things were running smooth the day of the event. Like we had people scouting different locations, like making sure we had parking spots for people and like parking was all good. Um, if there was any like directing that needed to be done, like one of our event organizers would come up and like make sure everyone's going to the event like this way, like this is where we're all set up. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Would you
like even things like water or food or anything like that. There's just like so many things that you do think about, but there's also equally as many things you don't think about.
right.
And having more heads to think about all those things will just ultimately make you check off more boxes. Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be something you forget, but that's why you have all these people to help you out, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you mentioned, yeah, there's so many factors, so many things to take into consideration. If you two had to say, like, the three biggest levers, if you guys could identify the three biggest levers that made your competition what it is, the three biggest things that people who are looking to host an event, to organize their first event, three biggest things they should focus on to have the highest return in how successful their event is. What would you say those three things are?
I think the first one that I think a lot of people overlook is have cheap registration, because the thing is like a lot of competitions, like these majors are charging upwards of $50 to $100 to register for competition. But especially if you are a newer event, like people are going to be like, oh, what's this? It's a brand new thing. Like to make people interested, if it's like, oh, $5 for competition, that's what we did our first year. It's like, oh my gosh, it's only $5 and I only need to drive 2 hours. Like I'm just going to have a fun afternoon of competing and get more experience.
Yeah.
Having a cheap registration is probably like one of the most important things. The second most important thing, I think, is you don't need to get a venue right away. Because like we've done both of ours just at like the park, you know what I mean? And I see like something I see with a lot of competitions is that they get a venue early, just trying to like make it official, and then they're charging crazy amounts for registration on something that they don't know works yet. You know what I mean? And then competitors are less likely to come out because it's like, oh, this is a new thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be cool. Like, why would I come out to something that I need to pay $50 for that I don't know what the experience is? Like having like, and it also just saves like costs as organizers generally. Like if you have just like keeping your, like that kind of leads into the third thing, like keeping your costs low. Like try not to make things too extravagant, because like all you really need for an event is like a location, a bunch of people, and just like that's basically it. So just
Mm.
keeping your costs low, like not necessarily investing in a venue right away, and keeping registration cheap. And I'm sure Connor has three things as well.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with a good amount of those, but I believe networking is such a big thing. Like if you got to be able to reach out and just be like, "Hey, like will you sponsor my event, or will you help out with like these prizes, or can you like help me in any type of way of like getting this on board and getting more faces on it." Um I think yeah, reaching out to companies is a really big factor, and I'll go off of what Joe's saying, like yeah, not dumping all your eggs into one basket and like putting all your money towards an event. I think that's a very big factor in a lot of these newer events. And like you can do it just based off your own costs, and you don't necessarily have to put everything into one area. Like you can move things around and make sure, like, all right, we're gonna set up here. Like this is perfect for us. We have if you just have like a planned space and some great people to like work things out for the event and what you want to do. I think it'll be successful no matter what. And like I said, like marketing and branding is a really big thing. Like use social media to your advantage. It's such a tool nowadays, and like it helps so much to get your event out there. So yeah, just whether it be in your community or not, or like yeah, you're local or not, like use social media and just have your friends like share your posts, like reach out to different people, try to get different people to your event. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure like just the message is really, really inspiring and moving for people. And, it might lead to a great connection, a great future connection. So like you
Yeah.
just kind of work it out and it'll all be really successful for you.
Yeah. I really love what you touched on there about asking and for networking and asking for help. I think people are scared to ask for help and scared to just contact these companies or whoever it may be to sponsor their own jams, their own events, because it's pretty daunting for some people, especially if they aren't a pro player or if they're trying to do these things, but they don't have any, they're not a solidified player in the community yet. It's very daunting to go out and be like, hey, can you help me with my jam? And even though I've only been playing this many years, I'm only at this, skill level. People have these limiting beliefs in their head that they can't do it. But it just starts with asking, just like you said, and just really going after it. I definitely remember having to do that myself when I hosted my first event a couple years ago back in Washington, and just writing these emails, being like, hey, is this actually going to work? Like, am I actually going to get these responses from people? But yeah, I really like what you said there. Just not being afraid to just go after it and just see who responds, because that's the first step, is just asking. Yeah.
It-
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
yeah. And real quick, who did the yeah, mentioned a big part about social media. Who was doing all the announcement posts, like the graphics for those?
Oh,
So I was running the Tower Cup Instagram, but our designer was Brandon Ad Brandon Adams. His at's like Brandon Grew.
Mhm.
Oh.
He's Nolan Reeves' brother, and he's a Wisconsin local. We connected with him last year. He does graphic design as his day job, and he was just so kind. He helped us zero cost, just
Wow.
wanting to get his work out there. It was seriously such a big help. He was very professional. He like responded quickly. He helped us with literally whatever we needed, even if it was a bad file, even if things would take forever. Oh my gosh, I need this in like an hour. Can you please get this done? He would very speedy in responding. We wouldn't have been able to make the social media aesthetic without him. So just my biggest thank you to Brandon for all your help.
Brandon
Uh,
Kill did a lot of the graphics, so we're really thankful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll leave him. We'll leave a link to his stuff in the description of
Yeah,
this
that's
video.
great.
Yeah. What are you guys' future? You know, after two years doing Tower Cup, you know, you guys made a significant improvement this year. What are some of your goals you want to hit for next year? Whether that be the types of prizes you want to provide, maybe a new venue, the type of how many attendees you guys want. What are some goals you guys are chasing for next year?
I think,
Oh, okay.
go ahead, Joe, if you
Oh,
want.
you go.
Okay.
It's your turn.
Um, yeah, no, like I think solidifying a venue is kind of in like our next question of things. Like we really want to have a venue for next year, like just expecting a lot of people and like how much we brought in this year with the attendees and stuff. We'll be looking at a venue, so
Mhm.
keeping our eyes out for that. And then yeah, just giving more opportunity for Tower Cup to grow and creating a better outline for the event in general, and just working towards our goals to kind of make sure it runs just as great for next year. So, and even better.
Yeah.
And then also, I think increasing attendance, that's pretty basic. And then just continue to provide specialty pieces to prize winners. And then also keep registration price at a moderate amount, just so we can continue to increase our
Mhm.
like attendees, and then people that, oh, I've never tried kendama, this might be my first competition. Like it creates a better barrier of entry for those
Yeah.
individuals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, give us some numbers real quick.
Yeah.
What about attendees and competitors? You know, we talked about earlier. You guys had 110 total attendees this year, over 110 plus, and then 89 competitors, close to 90 across all divisions.
Yeah.
What could we be striving for next year? What are some goals?
Um, a goal for next year, I think 125 is a very easy benchmark to hit. We obviously would love more, but like this past year, we were hoping for like our first year we had 60 attended. So we were like, oh, we're hoping for 75 attendees and like 60 competitors. We
Yeah.
absolutely crushed it out of the water, but we want to remain reasonable in our sizing so we're not getting in too over our head. Especially when we were like creating our event and CKC with how successful it was being California. We had high expectations for the first year, but then many people were just like, we need to chill and realize that we need to start smaller and then continue to grow.
Yeah.
And we're just going to keep going forward with that mindset. But if we're looking at specific numbers per division, the 16-person freestyle, 10 in beginner, 11 in intermediate, 20 in amateur open, and 33 in pro open. So
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So 89 competitors this year around there, and so you guys had 110 people. You just said you want to hit at least 125. I mean,
That is literally
you
guaranteed.
guys, I mean, that's guaranteed.
That's guaranteed. That's guaranteed numbers.
You guys practically doubled your numbers last year to this year. What about 150?
Yeah, what about 150?
What about,
Can we
come
put
on. We
150
gotta
out
put
there
150 out
for
there.
Tower Cup?
I think that's reasonable. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
think
very reasonable.
It's doable.
I think it's definitely doable.
Easily.
125 is like you guys are hitting 125.
I mean, you
Like,
guys got 100. You guys got a +2 next year just with us.
yeah, and that's
So-
only 23, and then you're definitely gonna get 23. You know, like so. Yeah, 150.
Let's go.
I feel like 150 is a good. Yeah, I feel like 150 is a good goal.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Yeah, I'm stoked for Tower Cup next year. I know you guys are going to put a lot more work into it, and we're stoked to support it in however way we can too. So yeah, I'm honestly I'm just gonna put my projections out there. I can see 150 plus for competitors. I see well over 100. Yeah, I'm stoked.
Let's
I'm
go,
stoked.
baby.
But yeah, guys, yeah, I'm really excited to see the overall kendama scene in Chicago grow and just you guys just have this event keep thriving. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
Overall, how is the kendama scene in Chicago like now? And how many people came to that event from Chicago itself?
I wish we took a Windy City picture. Like I'm kind of like
Mm.
nagging myself at that now. But I'm sure there was easily over 20, 25 that showed up
Mm.
Wow.
from Chicago specifically. There were players I've never met from Chicago before. But
Yeah.
it's like beautiful about Tower Cup. I'm just gonna parallel off our first year. So our first year we had Tower Cup, and then we've had like 5 new locals just come to the Windy City Kendama sessions like weekly. Carlos and Victor and Gabe, those new local homies that show up every week and are just absolutely destroying at the jams. Their first exposure to in-person kendama was Tower Cup.
Wow.
I've talked to all 3 of them. Both of them were playing less than 3 months at the time, and they just saw our stuff, and then they've been coming ever since then. And then it's just really beautiful how that happens. And then Windy City as a whole, like it's very thriving. We meet every Saturday in Naperville, Illinois at the Moser Tower. And then every last Sunday of the month. So this Sunday actually, we have a jam in actually like in Chicago. We change the location every time just based on whatever, like if we want to see different parts of the city, if you want to be like more residential, if you want to be more in like the downtown district, like we just change that. And then Rylan has been the one spearheading that. And it's just really awesome. We get more opportunities to see each other outside of our normal Saturday weekly time. So
Mm.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, hey, 90, 110 people at the event, only 25 from Chicago. That's good numbers from outside the area. That's super awesome. And that's pretty strong representation from Chicago itself as well. I'm thinking thinking back to the Seattle scene, if we had 25 people from Seattle scene go to an event, that'd be good numbers.
Massive.
That'd be massive numbers for an event. So
Yeah.
that's epic, guys. That's awesome. You guys have both also been traveling a bit recently. Joe, you went to 303 KO in Colorado. You also went to Corner and Ken in Ohio, and then yeah, Connor, you just went to Japan for 2 weeks. What? Let's start with you, Joe. How was your competition experience at these, you know, local like U.S. events for you, and did they have any influence on how you did Tower Cup in general, or just overall, how was your competition experience at these?
yeah, so 303 and Corn on the Ken were both first time events. It was their first time being ran, and they were actually back-to-back weekends, which was insane. It was so fun to like go to 303 and then go directly to Corn on the Ken after. And it just shows how our like community is growing. Like 303 had so many Colorado locals that it was like their first time at anything kendama related. Um, and yeah, like 303 was just overall a success. That's the event ran by Casey Henson, Brad Willard, and Brian Willard. I like competition wise, I did pretty good. I got second place in freestyle, which is like my first podium
There you go.
up to that point, which I was so stoked about. I was facing Miguel in the finals, so that was fun to be facing my teammate.
Yeah.
And then yeah, 303 was very successful first time event. And I'm really excited to go back next year and to see their growth. And then Corn on the Ken was a local event in Ohio. They had about 40 people show up. The Ohio scene is like still growing. Like I think they're like a bit smaller than Windy City Kendama. Same with like Colorado Kendama. It was hosted by Nick of Occult Kendama's Kendama Niche. And that was just a very fun, homey event. I'm glad that there's more Midwest events happening. Like it was a very reasonable drive. The competition was well priced. And there was a lot of prizes too. Like sponsors showed love for that event. I ended up taking first in open division there, which was very, very
Let's
awesome.
go.
It was very fun.
So,
And it like honestly, it's just so fun seeing more of these events pop up, like both first time events, and they were both like wildly successful. And like those organizers had the exact same like questions and concerns and struggles that Connor and I had for as well as all of Windy City Kendama for Tower Cup. And if not our story shows that you can run an event, like their stories also show it. They had a very fun time, and like not every event needs to be 100 plus people. Like Battle at the Border, the big like one of the biggest US events started out as 8 people in a garage. So
yeah.
it's an event can be what you make it, you know. And I've just been very fortunate to travel to all these events this summer. It's just solidifying my love for kendama and community in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point about, what you said about Battle of the Border, one of the longest running event in the United States, starting out with just 8 people in a garage. And now, I mean, we all know it's five, there was 500 people this past year. So that growth, and I think I want to just highlight too, it's not gonna, yeah, exactly as you said, it doesn't have to be 100 people. It's not, and it's likely, when you start out, it's likely not gonna be this massive, massive event, but it's just starting that counts. You're still impacting lives that way. And, who knows in the future, if you keep putting effort into it, it very well may be, as long as you don't stop doing it, a massive, massive event to grow to that space that you want it to grow to, but only upon the necessary like foundation of experience that you have by doing it over and over and over again. And that's a great point that you just brought up. That, yeah, I I think it's really encouraging for people to start their events, because even if it's small, it doesn't matter. As long as you have one, two, yeah, 8 people in a garage, you're still impacting lives. You still providing that magical energy, which is really the essence of what these events are all about. So, yeah, thank you, Joe, and congratulations, man, on killing the competition at these events too. Congratulations, dude. I can't wait to see you
Thank
again
you.
at NACO and see you kill it there as well. Yeah, Connor, dude, massive trip for you, bro. Massive trip. 2 weeks, KWC, the Biblecat event. You're shooting photos like crazy. Tell us about your experience, dude.
Yeah, dude. It was pretty cool. It was more than cool, honestly. I shouldn't have said that, but no, it was insane, dude. It was absolutely insane. It was a great time just like planning up to the event. I kind of had it planned at Dama and the D to go and had worked some things out and was meeting Clay and his partner out there, so that was really cool. I flew out alone, and that was a great time. Like no problems for me whatsoever. The only thing that did affect me though was the Microsoft outage. Like leaving the day before, I was supposed to leave on a Sunday, ended up leaving on a Monday.
Okay.
So they kind of delayed my flight by a whole day, and I was a little upset about that. But no big issues or anything, nothing to like fuss about. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, flew into Tokyo and that was awesome, man. Like got there, spent the first 2 days there, and then took the Shinkansen down to Hatsukaichi and pulled up at the hostel and that was just absolutely insane, dude. That was so cool just to be there and like see everything in person, meet all these crazy amazing players that like I've been watching for like the past 4 or 5 years, just like wow, you're right in front of me right now. Like this is so
Yeah.
then like let alone just like seeing all of my friends from the US and everyone pull up and now like yeah, KWC was really awesome. We definitely went to I want to say it was like 5, 6, 7 maybe different cities. So while I was in
Wow.
Japan, um, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Haneda, or I'm sorry, not Haneda. I don't know why I said that, but Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, like Hiroshima, Hatsukaichi. We went
Sure.
to Osaka, like we're in just a bunch of different areas. So it was really cool. Um, got to it felt like I traveled the country, definitely. For
Yeah.
those 2 weeks. Definitely felt like I traveled the country. It was just like everywhere, every time. Yeah, it was like a great time, and I'm super thankful for like Clay and his partner for like shooting me out there and like giving me the opportunity to travel through them. They've been a couple times. So yeah, it was a really well planned out trip. Definitely 100% worth it. It took so much of my like mental
Yeah.
capacity just to like build up the confidence to go and work things out. I mean, I messaged you guys a couple times. I was like, yo, like what do you have to say about this? What can I figure out? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was really cool for me and like yeah, shooting my first event out there. Bilbo K was a huge opportunity for me. And I didn't really know too much about it before besides it being like a 12-person invite freestyle and that it was going to be at this club and all this stuff was going to be going down. So, yeah, it was really cool and getting in touch with some of the guys out there like they were just like, "Hey, bring your camera. Like we want you to shoot this. Like we want this done." So, like I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, I'm so on board. Like this is my first event ever using my camera and being able to shoot and just take all the video that I could. And yeah, I think I took over like 1,000 photos for that event. So that
Uh,
was awesome. KWC, I pretty much did the exact same thing. Like took over like 1,000 photos, was doing a
really?
bunch there.
That's
Oh,
so
Yeah,
sick.
probably like 2,000 photos for just KWC. So that was really cool. Still processing a lot, still like going through a lot on my computer. So yeah, that was awesome. And yeah,
um,
dude, just like could not stop smiling like the entire trip. Everything about Japan is just like so wonderful, and I'll be making my way back as soon as possible for sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
and for those listening, I mean, you said you took a lot of confidence and took a lot of building up, crossing the fence to make this decision to go.
A
What
lot
would
of
you say
planning.
to people who are in a similar position as you, who are or for who are in a similar position as you this year, and for those who are on the fence about going next year, what would you say to those people?
I would say definitely, yeah, consider your plans and work things out with people around you. Definitely, like I said, network and keep talking to people because it gets you places for sure. And no, kendama definitely takes you places. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, any advice that I have is just like reach out and make plans and work your way around things and whether or not you can go with people or not, like you can figure it out yourself. You can look up a lot of different places to stay and like find different things, different avenues, and like
Yeah.
it definitely took me some time. I worked a lot throughout the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years and just building and saving and like being able to still kind of live with my parents and like save some money up and stuff like that in order to fund this trip. So it was a lot for me, but no, I highly recommend it for anybody who's like on the fence about anything and just yeah, shoot your shot. Like
Yeah.
take that trip, take any trip for all that matter. Like Europe, I hear is so amazing. So many other countries out there, like Hong Kong, Thailand, like Taiwan. Like go to all these different places and check out the kendama scenes there because they're so awesome. They're growing, and there's so many players all over the world. Like you guys know, um,
Yeah.
so many players all over the world that are just like throwing these competitions and people are pulling up to them. So yeah, like if you can't make it out to KWC, go to any other country and see that because it's so cool.
Yeah, it kind of gives you like you said, Konami takes you places. It just gives you the fact there are people in so many different countries. It gives you even more of a reason and like an
Hmm.
excuse to just go. It's like, what do you guys do? What it's like, what are you doing in Hong Kong? Oh, I'm gonna just go play Konami with my friend. Like normal people who aren't in Konami are like, what are you talking about? Like you're going what? Like you're going across the world to do that? Like, well, what are you doing in Croatia? I don't know any Croatian players. I'm sure they exist. I'm just going to go play Konami with them. That's just such a crazy thing for people to hear, but it's just a normal thing in Konami. So I really
Yeah.
like what you said about that, Connor. And yeah, it's August. It's August now. KWC's next year in July. Everybody listening, you have 11 months to make it work. Make it happen. And yeah,
Yeah,
if you really want to go, just start planning out. I'm sure it'll work out. I'm sure it'll work out one way or another. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's epic to hear, Connor. I'm so happy you had a great time, and I cannot wait to see those photos, dude. And you're going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to work hard. Like
yeah,
I saw you out there. You're putting a lot of work. So I'm stoked to see
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it was really cool. And yeah, like there's like you guys said, there's so many international players out there that you can just connect with online, I'm sorry. And dude, use your phone to like the best that you can. I mean, it's a tool, so just
Yeah.
talk to people, reach out, like have these conversations. Don't be afraid, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Joe, we'll be seeing you out there next year, right?
Yes, I'm saving all my money so I can go.
Let's
It's,
go.
it's gonna be epic. Yeah, and then Connor, real quick, what you say you traveled to a lot of places. What was your favorite spot that you went to?
Let's see. So, oh, there's so many. We were in. I went to Kamakura, which was really awesome. Like the beach
Nice.
out there was so cool. Miyajima was really cool, being on the island and hanging out there, seeing the big prefecture and Torii Gate. That was really cool for me. Yeah, Hatsukaichi was awesome. I mean, everything about that was really cool, and just having like the hostel right there and kind of just bike around and like
Yeah.
see all these different spots.
Yeah.
Food was great. I really like Kyoto though. Kyoto was cool for me.
Mm-hmm. That's
Kyoto,
cool.
I met a lot of people and like connected with a fair amount of people. Staying in Tokyo was just even better because it was just right in the center of Shibuya. Like
Yeah.
we're right there. It was definitely an interesting time out there. But yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, Connor. Yeah, it sounds like your whole trip was a
Yeah,
success. I
sounds
saw you going to work with the camera on Miyajima, so yeah,
Oh, yeah.
blast. It was a good time. Let's go.
yeah. You know, right now, guys, I'd love to get into some Instagram questions. We had a couple people
Okay.
send some questions in. They're pretty nice. We've covered some of them, but a lot of them are really good. I so William J. Dama says, and this is two people asked what's the future of kendama, but William J. Dama says, where do they see the future of kendama? Culture, comp, popularity, innovation.
Um, I think kendama could become the next yo-yo. Not and I don't want it to like be forever remained as a toy. Like I want it to be more as like a connection builder because that's truly what it is. It's like such a physical thing. Like you can really just interact with it. It's like transcends language. It transcends like literally everything that holds back connection. And I think it could truly become the next big thing. It's just all of our responsibility as players to just show our love for kendama. And then also, I think something that will help kendama is I think there needs to be something for kendama that's off Instagram. There needs to be a community that exists that because if it's just only on Instagram, then it's just destined to be like a social thing. Like it needs to evolve into other media sources. Like the Kendama movies that have been coming out, like the Kendama Girl movie, like that Noah
Oh yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Like that will definitely help media, but like it expanding to other platforms, it just needs to like expand in other areas more than just Instagram. I think that will help it like become the next yo-yo, the next like big thing to like boom over like
Yeah.
different places.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Connor, any
I think
thoughts?
I think I definitely see it as a sport for sure.
Mm.
After coming back from Japan, I see it as a sport. Like I see how much love and passion there is, and I think the future of kendama will just it won't stop growing. Like seeing how many new faces are always involved, and like whether you fade in or out of it, it'll stay prevalent in your life forever. And I think, yeah, I think it has the potential of reaching like an international sports level and being put on TV, or whether it be X Games, the Olympics, like its own little thing or its own channel, its own thing. Like I see a lot of major growth in the future, and I don't see it stopping. So
Mm.
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think yeah, Joe, I think any type of media that's going outside of Instagram would definitely help. I totally agree with that there. And yeah, Connor, I'd love to see. I mean, Nick and I are very vocal about this. Yeah, I'd love to see Kanala grow, and to that type of level, and I'm fully confident it can. And I really like what you're saying a lot during this podcast, Joe. It's up to all of us because it really is. It's not going to just up to the sponsored players, the pros. It's not up to just the company owners. It's up to each and every single one of us as players and ambassadors of this game we all love to spread it. So I think that's a nice important reminder for everyone listening. Joe, this one's question is just specifically for you from Ricky Kendama. What's it like being on the most outrageous and insane rising squad out there right now? Unlocked.
It's seriously just like it's insane because like to think about my start with Locked all the way from Mako 2022 to being just like a brand new thing, like Danny hitting me up out of the blue. Hey, do you want to try this? Do you want to like see what this is about? You know what I mean? And I really just like if we're talking about Locked in specific, like I just owe it all to Danny. Like he
Hmm.
seriously has a way of thinking about things, way of creating shapes, just everything that like I don't think any other person could do it like him. Like
Mm.
he just has an innate way of knowing how to like make shapes better or how to like his like team composition too. Like he's handpicked people that all play very differently. And like we all check completely different niches just to make this one crazy thing. And like without the community, we wouldn't be anything, you know what I mean? Like I'm just eternally grateful I was in like basically the right place at the right time and that we're growing at the rate we are. It's just like surreal, very surreal.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with Ricky Kendama. It is an insane, outrageous squad. I'm a big fan of the Lock team, big fan of Lock Studios as a company. So it's awesome to see you guys continue to grow. And I remember when Lock was just a starter company. I remember when my roommates back in Seattle, they're actually new to Kendama at the time. And at one time I saw like a Lock Studios Ken on the table, and I just looked at him and was like, oh, cool, another company, another company, and now you guys are freaking killing it, dude. Like nonstop, like didn't never stopped. The team has only grown. The skill has only been gotten better and better. The Kenamas have gotten super, super, super good. Yeah, props to you guys. Props to Danny. I can't wait to see you guys what you guys will continue to do for the rest of the year and in the
A
future.
thousand percent. I'm
It's
just so thankful that these guys, like, we're all like such a tight knit team. We're all like really close friends. Like, these are some of like my best friends that I'll
Yeah.
probably like ever have. Like, even like past like this age, like even like 20, 30, 50 years from now,
Yep.
I'm sure these people will still be like some of my greatest friends. So I'm just like
Yeah.
eternally grateful. Like, it's just surreal.
That's so amazing to hear.
And we'll be catching you guys at NACO, yeah?
Of course.
We're rolling deep.
Yeah,
So,
let's go. Um, William J. Donald also actually, yeah. So Casey and Zachy actually asked questions, but we did answer them already, and just in conversation. Brad Willer asked them what's their favorite Konami moment they have ever witnessed.
mm.
Connor, do you want to go first? I need to think of a couple.
Um,
Our question.
favorite kendama moment. Wow. There's been some crazy times over the past couple of years. I think one of my favorites was when Edwin, I think this is like the first year of battle that I went to. Edwin hit like a crazy goon trick right in the center. I think it was within a couple tries. It was like
Oh,
the back. That had me screaming. I think I watched it from across the room and I was just like, wow, this kid is so insane.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely that definitely rings a bell in my head. Just seeing like announcements over the years, like seeing Ben Bryant get announced, seeing some of uh like Kesey and some of those guys, like just watching like announcements and seeing like how much goes into video premieres and like those are so memorable for me because like I was sitting there in the moment like wow, like they put so much time and effort and like editing and just like so many different things that go into these films that bring out all these emotions and feelings and like create a story about the player. And I think that's like one of my biggest takeaways from Kendama that I always like to like look back on and be like, that's possible. You can do that with so many different things and like the setup is just so cool to me. Like seeing how it all comes together, hearing like the backstories behind like the film sessions and like like we got together at this time, we were in this state at like this different time. Like that always kind of blew my mind. So yeah, those are memorable for me for sure.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I think for me, like it's just so hard. Favorite kendama moment I've ever witnessed. It's I don't know. Maybe like just NACO 2022 was insane. Watching like freestyle, just like that huge freestyle bracket was
Yeah.
insane. Um, uh, because there's like so many Damo moments I love, but I wasn't there live. Um, Watching Zachy go pro was insane. Like that was such like a cool moment to watch live. I like agree with Connor on that note about like player announcements, all that stuff. Um, Another one that I loved personally, like that kind of made me want to like grind and like get better was watching Kelvin Wan go pro
Mhm.
because like Kelvin, like for me was like a huge inspiration when I was in like my um early Dama career and like him as like also as a classical musician, just like seeing that and like seeing the parallels being similar age and stuff like that. Like watching him go pro and like buying his pro mod back in NACO was just like
Yeah.
very cool for me. So
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, NACO 22 was a absolute banger of an event in terms of the freestyle and the competition. The competition was very intense. So I remember that. Was that what were you competing in back then, Joe? Were you competing in the pro or
I was in pro. I actually did well that comp. I got to day two, so
There you
nice.
sweet?
go. There you go.
No? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the theater. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. It's gonna be 3 days in a hotel. It's gonna be a new experience. Mm. Yeah, that's such a hard question to answer. What's your favorite canal moment of all time? I would have to think about that. I don't have one that's coming to mind that's like instant, you know? That's tough, but heck yeah. William J. Dahmer also asked, oh, this is kind of two questions. So he asked best practice for someone in the 1 to 4 year range. Just I guess that can be interpreted a lot of different ways, but yeah, best practice for someone in the 1 to 4 year range.
Um, for me, like I would say, or maybe like best practice, I'm gonna interpret that more as like best things to do, like for kendama. Like for me, like just recently coming out of that range, like I'm 5.5 years in basically. So like I just recently came out of that range, but I would most importantly develop consistency and then find your style. So like take tricks that you like and just like get them on lock. That'll like help set you up for comp, but it'll just make you better in every way. I would try everything, like literally try every trick you see on Instagram to see if it's something you like,
Mm.
and then just really go down a rabbit hole into your style. For me, that's like all the under the leg stuff, all the weird stall tech. Like that's my thing. And I very fortunate I found that very early. And I was just the reason I found out was like trying an old KWC list where like it was like bird super flamingo, or I forget what the trick was. But I just tried throwing it under my leg and I was like, oh, this is so sick. I kind of want to keep doing this. And then it's kind of evolved into like one of my like paramount style traits. So I would just say try everything and just continue to improve consistency on tricks. And then just because it makes you better, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, Connor, anything to add on that?
Um, I would say just like, yeah, find your concepts that you really enjoy and kind of take it to wherever your wildest thoughts, I don't know, like drive you to. Because I've a lot of my tricks have just been inspired through other people, but like the trick concept itself, like I'll just mess around with some things for like maybe a couple hours or so or an hour or two. And I'll come back to it and be like, well, I could do this with this trick, or like I
Mm.
could, make this a sandwich in this sort, or like, I could find something that kind of makes it all connect together. So like, yeah, definitely work on consistency. I think that's a big one. And just try to find like what you gravitate towards in terms of the types of tricks that you want to do and just keep pushing with them. Like keep progressing with the trick that you like each and every day. I mean like whether it be just the small minimal movement that, makes a change in the line or whether it be something drastic, like you can change up so much in kendama and kendama is just like an infinite like endless toy that you can wrap yourself in. So I think, yeah, when it comes to like building that consistency, finding your style. I think finding your style is a really big thing. And just, yeah, doing the tricks that you like to do and just keeping after it and keep building. Practice like definitely practice like trick lists from comps because that's helped me a lot. Like just coming back from a comp being like, oh yeah, like I really like this trick and I really wanted to work on this. So, and I maybe I didn't do well with it during the comp, but I'm feeling it now. I'll come back and like go through the whole trick list again and act like I was just practicing. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
finding those little things really help for
Yeah.
sure.
So practicing consistency with more of the fundamentals and just not being afraid to go down your own rabbit hole. Just to sum it up. Yeah.
And finding that work about finding your own style, I want to highlight too. I mean, people, I used to ask myself, like, what is like a couple years in, if people are talking about styles and tricks, I'm like, what is my style? Like I was like, I wonder what people think of my style because I genuinely didn't. I feel like it's almost hard to identify your own style, especially early on, because it's likely that it's not even fully developed yet. You're probably not even fully set on any one trick. And yeah, Joe, I like what you said about trying literally every single trick. Getting exposed to a whole bunch of different trick styles, especially 1 to 4 years in. 4 years sounds like a lot, but it goes by really fast. And that's even the first 4 years is very developmental in terms of finding out what tricks you like. Because there's so many tricks and you only have so much time to try, these tricks per week. It's going to take a long time to find what you really like and identify, which is also really important, what you don't really like too. And I really think trying all the tricks you can to get into your style and get exposed to as many variations as possible is super, super important. So I like that advice. I like your advice as well, Connor. So I think those are great tips for people who are in that year range. The
Also,
last,
another thing
yeah,
is
go ahead.
like it's like when people watch you play kendama, it's like people want to watch you play kendama. They don't want to watch like you trying to be someone else. Like, of course, you can like take inspiration from other people, but it's like people want to watch you be you. And like that like seems daunting, but it's just like I don't want to watch like another Takia. You know what I mean? Like Takia is Takia. I want to watch you for you. Like you're sick for the tricks you're doing the way you do them. It's like you don't need to be anyone else in order to like be accepted. Like this community just already is accepting inherently. So it's like try the stuff that you're stoked about and everyone will be like stoked with you.
Yeah. That's a really important thing to keep in mind, especially for people out there who are, yeah, there are people who are stressed about, trying to do this trick this other person's doing and not feeling like they're enough or whatever these internal thoughts might get to them. It's a real thing. And I really like that point, just playing and having people watch you for you and being stoked to watch you for you as well. We all play different roles and have different styles in the community that we all like to watch and, favor towards. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's huge, Joe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say too, just on the end of that, is you're really diving into that not being afraid of going into your own rabbit holes of tricks. You know, I think a lot of people want to become super well-rounded, which is such a great goal. But I've had conversations with players before who have had a favorite trick, and they, for some reason or another, get encouraged to stop doing like their favorite trick for the sake of being well-rounded. I mean, I I totally want to encourage people to just go once they know they really like a trick, just go hard as just super hard with it and like honestly try to become the best at it. Whether that is going to happen or not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, all the greatest players in the world, like just like you said, Joe, like, we all have our own styles. Like we want to watch each other's tricks, like just for who you are, and all the greatest players. It's not like they're just super semi good at so many different tricks. They're usually really good at a lot of tricks, but they're also just super insane at a specific variation or a specific type of trick because they spent so many hours on it. And I think that's even goes hard. It adds so much to their own style as well. It adds so much. So Joe, with you, I mean, you spent more hours doing behind the back on the leg than probably anybody on the planet, and you're insane at those. And not to say that you're not, and you're still really good at other tricks, but like just that trick in particular, you're like people know it's like that's a Joe trick. Like that's Joe's thing, and I think a lot of players have that too. But for all the players listening right now who think they need to maybe switch up their focus and on these different tricks and spread themselves out really thin. you can still like just if you find a trick that you really enjoy, just keep going. Go hard, just go hard. It brings that enjoyment on. I think it's really important. So that's just something I want to say. It came to mind. The last question I have for you guys is just about improvement. What's the mindset for improvement in kendama now, and how has it developed over the past 5 years for you both?
Um, I think yeah, improvement has really changed up for me over like I know from year one up until now. Like I was just like Joe was saying and like you guys were saying, like I was just trying different things. I was just trying to find like the thing that I like the most, and it's definitely taken me some time, and I'm still right there to where like yeah, I want to be better and I want to improve in all these different areas, but it's really taken like a toll on me to just like focus on one single thing and kind of lock in on it, make sure like I have one skill set down before I move on to another. And I do like to bounce around with a lot of stuff. So I feel like, yeah, improve in all the areas that you can and kind of do what you want, but come back to like the things that you like and work off of those and don't be afraid to just push forward with it 100%. Me as a player though, like I think my improvement has been just overall like playing more kendama when I have the opportunity and trying to play like myself 100%. Playing like myself has been the biggest thing for me. And just having fun, like just have fun with it. At the end of the day, I know a lot of people get stressed and I know a lot of people like tend to get really angry when they go through a sesh or like, they're grinding something for hours upon hours upon hours. But just remember, like, it's all about having fun at the end of the day. I've had so many great people tell me, like, it's about having fun. Like, just don't take it so hard all the time. Even when you want to, it shows how passionate you are about it, but don't take it so hard. It's about having fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed for me, I think the most I've ever progressed in a single season is when I was enjoying it the most. I think they just correlate a lot, together. And there's been times where I haven't enjoyed it as much and I've seen my progression slow. So yeah, it's just nice to find ways to enjoy it. And whatever that may be, switching up your practice routine, playing with other people, practicing in these different ways, using trick lists, kanamonomics, these other ways to have stuff to do with a kanama. Yeah, it amplifies the experience, at least from my perspective. So yeah, I agree with you, Connor. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like I think improvement can manifest in a bunch of different ways. It's because like what people see on Instagram is like kind of curated, you know what I mean? You post the trick that, oh my gosh, I like this the most. I want to show people that this is what I can do. But improvement, like true improvement, is like what the camera doesn't see. It's how many times can I do this specific trick? Or, oh, how clean can I get this specific trick multiple times? Or, oh, like how do I do my form with this? Like it's very like minuscule things that the camera doesn't necessarily see. And like for people listening, it's just like what's on Instagram just isn't everything. And like improvement is just it's a day-to-day thing. And like even though it might not seem like like great by like day to day, but over time it's just your improvement goes crazy. Like it's just like we all started like not even being able to do a big cut, but now like look what we all can do, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just like there's so many different ways to improve. Like I want to improve as a player, I want to improve as a community leader, I want to improve as a competitor. There's like so many different ways to improve that it's just like not beating yourself up too much and just keep going. Like every day is a new day. Like, yeah.
There you go. The daily effort. Yeah. And obviously, yeah, just like you said, isn't show up. You're not going to notice it every single day, but over, a compound period of time, it's just enjoying the journey, I think is what you were getting at in a way there. And eventually you'll just see the benefits reap at in some way, shape, or form, whether it be at a comp or at your local jam or just filming this trick or something will happen that'll just be like, oh, yeah, it's going well. So, Yeah, I like that, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. That was it for our Instagram questions. We've been going for nearly 2 hours now. Time flies. I think it's time to. I think we can wrap it up around here. Is there anything else you guys wanted to cover, mention before we hop off?
Not in particular.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing from me, I don't think. I really appreciate you guys, and yeah, it was an awesome time on here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us on. We really appreciate it.
No
Yeah.
problem, guys. This is epic, epic conversation. I know people are gonna love this one. Thank you guys so much for making the time, and we'll talk really soon. I'll let you guys know when this is out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
All right.
All right, guys.
Talk to you guys later.
See ya.
So.
Bye.